Hi folks, my name's Chuck Newt, and I'm with the Winking Pig Barbecue. Today I'm outside, out here with Betty Lou, a star of the Great Smoker Build series. And if you would like to see that, I built this, and there's a tag right up, let's see, right up to my okay. So today I'm going to do a short video on fire management. So let me get the camera off the tripod and I want to show you a couple things real quick before we go to starting the fire. Okay, so as you can see, I've kind of got stuff stacked up in here in order to get a fire started. And this smoker, all it's ever seen is paper and wood as far as combustibles inside this firebox. Now, and you'll notice I've got a couple pieces of what I call pre-burnt wood, and those come from previous smokes that I like to start my new fires out with because they're good and dry and should start really easy. In fact, I've never ever, since I built this smoker, had a situation where the fire did not start on the first try. And you know, there's always a first time, and it could be today, but we're going to find out here shortly. Now, one of the first things I do, I told you there's three things that are critical for me to starting a fire in this, and that is down underneath the grate there. I make sure I clean out all the old ash to allow a good airflow. You know, a long smoke, if you're doing brisket or pork butts, you can burn quite a lot of wood in here and produce quite a lot of ash in there. And if it builds up too high, you're going to block your airflow, which is going to harm your fire. The next thing I do, over here on the side, I make sure that this vent is wide open. Then the third thing is actually up here on the top, and you can't see it, but if you remember, if you watched the Great Smoker Build, you know what this is for. This is a mechanism for opening and closing the flue damper up here on the top of the smoker. And so it's wide open as well. It's kind of tough to see up there, but I assure you, it is wide open. Okay, so I'm going to get my camera put back on the tripod here. We're going to see if we can't get a fire started on the first try. Okay, nothing fancy, just paper and sticks. Now, down here at the bottom, I always like to put the smallest sticks, smallest diameter I should say, because they catch and burn the easiest. Just like some paper there. And the hope is that those small sticks will get us a little fire started and get us going. Now I must say that these sticks are good and dry. Alright, I can already hear some wood popping in here. Alright, now we'll just throw a few more twigs in here. You can see maybe the bottom's kind of burning out from underneath the larger pieces here. But that's alright. So that gives us room to put more small twigs under there. Now I'm going to take a piece of that pre-burnt wood and put it kind of on top like that. Now I'm actually starting this fire about 2 hours prior to my putting wood on this, or putting meat on this smoker, because what I want is a good bed of coals down the bottom of this. And when I first started up, you'll see smoke rolling out of this firebox, and that's kind of normal until I go to close the door and force the smoke to come out of the top. But right now I'm more concerned with getting the fire going and letting it have as much oxygen as it needs. And here shortly I will actually start start throwing, as soon as I get what I feel like is a fire established, I will begin throwing a few pieces of big wood on here to burn down and get our coals established. We got to build up to that. And so right now what I've looked for is kind of a small diameter piece of a split here. And I'm just going to set that right on the top like that. And let it begin to burn. Okay, so we got it started. And I'm going to shut the camera off for the time being. But here shortly we'll come back and we'll be throwing some more wood on this. I'm going to let this burn down just a little bit. Okay, so you can see we're starting to burn down a bit here. So I'm going to throw another couple logs on this real quick. And you'll notice I'm crisscrossing them a little. That's going to help the fire to impinge upon the wood. Impinge basically means to touch. The wood going through the small channels between the pieces, or I should say the fire going between the channels, or in the channels between the pieces, will help the fire to catch better. And the problem is if you lay them all facing the same direction, you're more likely to close off the spaces. Okay, so it kind of looks like we got us a fire started on the first try. So I'm going to let this burn probably 20 minutes before I come back out here and check on it again now. Okay, so another element that I find extremely critical in good fire management is a digital remote thermometer. Now as of right now, the fire is still over there burning with the door open, and I'm working on getting it, getting the fire established and all that good stuff, and good bed of coals and all. But I've got my thermometer on and going, and I've actually got both probes into the smoker here. And there you can see they're just laying in here for the time being. And one is actually a meat thermometer or meat probe, and the other a smoker probe. The brand new one is a smoker probe that I had to buy because I pulled the cord, the wire out of the thermistor tip there, and you can see a video on this thermometer up here in the top top right hand corner of your page there, your screen. I'll give a tag on my this is a ThermoPro TP08 digital remote thermometer, and I did a review on that, and I just published that this morning actually. So get yourself a good thermometer, and it'll greatly improve your the outcome of your meat smoking. Okay, so you can see our fire is still going. It's only been on, it's been going about, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes, something like that. Another word on that digital thermometer. By knowing what your smoker temperature is, that tells you when you need to add more wood and whatnot. It has an alarm that you can put in there, both a high temperature and a low temperature smoker temperature alarm that you can put in there. And primarily, the biggest problem I have, I mean the one I have to keep an eye on the most, is the low temperature. And typically when the temperature starts coasting back down to about 135, 130 is when I want to start thinking about putting another log on the fire. If I wait till 220, I'm sorry, I should say when it comes coasting back down to 235 to 230 is when I want to put another log on the fire because it's going to take a little bit for that next log to catch, and that will actually boost the temperature back up. Sometimes around, you know, somewhere between 250, 275, and that's quite common. But then it'll start, as it burns down, it'll start coasting back down. And about the time it hits 235, 230, I want to put another log on there, and that'll keep my temperature. My temperature range, I typically like to smoke somewhere between 225 and 275. You are not going to, with a large offset smoker like this, or any offset smoker, you're not going to be able to precisely keep your smoker temperature at 225, even if that's your goal. There's going to be fluctuations, simply because every time you add a piece of wood on there, it's going to bring your temperature up for a little while, and then it'll fall back down. So here in just a minute, I'll throw a little more wood to this. Alright, see, I added another little piece on the fire there. And so we're going to let that burn down for another 15-20 minutes and see what it looks like. Again, our goal is to get us a nice bed of coals established down there at the bottom. And that'll occur as these pieces start burning down. Okay, so our fire's been going about an hour and a half now, and it's starting to look pretty good in here. Will be much longer, and I'll be actually I'm going to start closing the door now, start bringing the interior of the smoker up to temperature. But you'll notice now that we don't have the billowing clouds of white smoke coming out the door here. There is still some smoke there, don't be wrong, but the coals don't produce that big white cloud of smoke. Now, that being said, every time you add a fresh log onto the fire, you are going to get the white smoke until it burns itself down. But this is what the goal is. What you're seeing right now, the very limited white smoke coming out. And the way you do that is burning coals rather than burning raw wood. So there we go. Fresh log. Getting ready to smoke something. Okay folks, so the fact that I make YouTube videos have been discovered by the boys in the neighborhood, and we got Deegan here, we got Dalton here, and Ashton over here, and so they just wanted to get in a video, and I told them they could be in the next YouTube video that I make. So I'm glad you guys could stop by. Everybody say hello to the people.
Hello.
Alright, so there you go. You guys are going to be in the next YouTube video.
Yes.
Thanks for stopping by.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I recently put a fresh log on the fire. So we got a little bit of smoke going on here. And we're also up around the upper range of our, where I want to keep my smoker at for pork or beef. Now for chicken, it's quite alright to go up to about 325 degrees. It's not going to hurt it a bit. And it'll get done pretty quick. But with the rib tips that I'm getting ready to put on here, and the you know, if I was going to do pork butt or if I was going to do brisket, this is probably the upper range of where I want to be. Again, like I told you before, somewhere between 225 and 275 is where I like to keep my smoker. And so this here thermometer is a digital remote thermometer, and up here in the top right hand corner you can see my review. And so I'm going to go get my meat and get it put on the smoker, and we'll be back here in a minute. Okay, so it's time to open Betty Lou up and get our meat onto the smoker here. Try not to set the meat right on top of my temperature probes. Probes are in. Heat is on. I'm just doing a small smoke today for the purposes of this video and the fact that I'm going to eat it for dinner. So, there we go. Meat is on. I'm going to smoke these for about 3 hours. I do not do these by temperature. I do these by time, at least to start with. So here we go. Now, and throughout this smoke, I'm going to be leaving the vent here and the vent up on top wide open unless some sort of emergency occurs. And I also got my remote thermometer here that reads both of those probes, and I can go up to 300 feet away. It's in the process of sinking here. There we go. Both of them are reading 204 degrees right this second. I just had the smoker open. So what we're going to do, I'm going to hit the barbecue button here, and we're going to set us a high temperature in here of 275. This is for reading the smoker temperature now. Alright, 275. I'll lock it in right there. Now I'm going to put in a low temperature of, say, 235. 236. Okay, so basically it's going to let me know if my temperature in the barbecue in the smoker is going too high or too low. At 236, I need to be thinking about putting a new log on the fire. Alright, so that's it for now. Okay, so you can see my temperature has come down. It's about 204, 203. So we're going to put another log on the fire here, and I just want to show you what happens in regards to the smoke with the fire. Now right now, you can't even see smoke coming out of that stack. But I assure you it is, it's burning in there. But here in just a second, when I'm going to put this log on the fire, I want to show you what happens. It's a little hard to see out here in the sun. But I can assure you there is white smoke coming out of that stack right now that wasn't coming out, or wasn't visible, let's put it that way, prior to my putting the fresh log on the fire. So there we go. And by the way, that is to be completely expected. And as it burns down, the white smoke will disappear again. Okay. So I'm going to close this video and see that I've still got a smoker full of fire, or full of fire. Well, it is full of fire, but also full of wood. I just put a new piece on there. And, but honestly, it's going to get dark before this smoke is done at about 6 o'clock or so. And I don't really have a whole lot more to teach you about running a smoker, or running my, fire management for your smoker. So, I'm going to close this down. Okay, folks, so it is, it's actually December 3rd, 2017, and I am out here in short sleeves shirt, which is really amazing. So I don't have much more I can teach you about smoker as far as fire management is concerned. One thing that you do have to guard against, and that is if you have a pile of wood in there, it doesn't burn, it's not burning very well, you don't want to keep adding more wood, because that's not going to help. Sometimes it's just a matter of stirring the wood that's in there. And so if you keep throwing the wood to it and then all of a sudden you get it to catch, then you're going to end up with a fire in there that's 350 degrees and causing you problems. And so you don't want that. If you've got the wood in there and you gotta, sometimes, like I said, just give it a stir, and that'll a lot of times solve your problem. Now, and I hope you've enjoyed the video as much as I've enjoyed bringing it to you. And do me a favor, if you like what you see, hit like and subscribe down below. It's a great help, and stay tuned. There's always more to come. And thanks for watching.